You start small, not in a marble office, not under a chandelier, not in a dark suit with flags behind you. You start sweating through a cheap shirt in a room that smells like old coffee, printer ink, and failure. The kind of room where politics isn't history. It's a side hustle for desperate men with fake smiles and real debts. Ancient Rome, modern capitals, provincial councils, party headquarters. It doesn't matter. The wallpaper changes. The disease stays the same. Corruption doesn't begin at the top. It begins with hungry people doing arithmetic on their dignity. This is your life through every level of a corrupt politician. Level 1, the volunteer rat. You don't get paid. That's the first joke. You carry flyers. You clap on cue. You flood comment sections with fake enthusiasm. You call strangers during dinner and beg them to believe in a man who wouldn't remember your face if you bled on his shoes. Your compensation is pizza, cheap beer, and proximity. That's the currency at the bottom. Proximity. The illusion that standing close to power means some of it will leak onto you. In Rome, you're one of the clients in a patron's morning crowd, waiting for scraps. In a modern capital, you're an unpaid campaign dog, trading your weekends for access and a lanyard. Psychological toll? Easy. You learn that principles are decorative. The first thing politics does is train you to say what works, not what's true. You watch the honest volunteers disappear. They burn out fast. Morality is heavy. Ambition travels light. Level 2, the bag carrier. Now you get paid, barely. Maybe $400 a week, maybe less. Maybe it comes late. Maybe it comes in cash because paperwork asks dangerous questions. You carry phones, carry rumors, carry envelopes. You book hotel rooms that are not for sleeping. You deliver donations that are really bribes wearing cologne. You sit outside restaurants while richer men inside sell pieces of the public like butchered meat. This is where you stop pretending you don't know. At this level, you aren't making policy. You're oiling the machine. You learn which business owners need permits, which contractors need signatures, which journalists need special access, which prosecutors suddenly get promoted after they lose interest in certain files. The physical toll is exhaustion, no schedule, no boundaries. Your life becomes a leash someone else jerks. The psychological toll is worse. You become useful by becoming blank. You don't ask. You don't remember. You don't react. You turn your conscience into office furniture, and they tell you to be patient, work hard, keep your head down. One day you'll get a seat at the table. That's the lie that keeps the grinder fed. Level 3, the local fixer. Now you matter, a little. You control a district, a neighborhood, a block of poor people who need jobs, permits, medicine, mercy. You are their bridge to the machine, which means you are also the toll booth. This is where corruption stops being abstract and gets intimate, very intimate. A widow needs paperwork move faster. She owes you loyalty. A small business owner wants inspectors to back off. He contributes to the campaign. A family needs their son out of trouble. They show up on election day with 10 extra votes that somehow appear from nowhere. Your income jumps. Official salary? Maybe $50,000 a year. Real money? Another $30,000, $80,000. Maybe more in favors, kickbacks, side deals, no-show consulting contracts. Not enough to be rich, more than enough to be dirty. This is the level of smiling extortion. You shake hands in public and squeeze throats in private. Not hard enough to leave marks. Just enough to teach people how the world works. In ancient cities, you distribute grain and demand devotion. In modern ones, you approve zoning and collect campaign donations from developers who build ugliness on top of desperation. The toll? Everyone needs something from you. Everyone lies, you lie back. Your phone never stops ringing. Your marriage starts to rot. Your children learn early that you are physically present and spiritually absent. But for the first time, you taste it. Not power. Power is too clean a word. Control. And control is a drug that teaches you to call your addiction responsibility. Level 4, the elected mouthpiece. Congratulations, you win. A council seat, a legislative chair, maybe a Senate bench if the gods are drunk. Now you have a title, staff, security, microphones, a polished desk to hide the stains. Your official salary looks respectable. Maybe $80,000, maybe $150,000, maybe more. Still pocket change compared to what's flowing around you. Because the real money isn't the salary, it's access. A corporation needs a regulation softened. A contractor wants a tender tailored. A donor needs a tax hole dug just wide enough to disappear through. They don't hand you a sack with a dollar sign on it. Corruption has evolved. It wears cufflinks now. Speaking fees, consulting, land deals through cousins, shell companies, foundations, art purchases, employment for your spouse, scholarships for your useless nephew, insider whispers that turn into miraculous investments. You're not just taking money, you're converting public trust into private luxury, and the toll rises with the rewards. Every vote you cast becomes a receipt. Every favor creates a witness. Every secret multiplies. Politics at this level is not leadership, it's debt architecture. You build a palace out of obligations and then realize the walls are made of gasoline. You smile more now. That's part of the uniform. Inside, you are developing the permanent twitch of a hunted animal. Level 5, the enforcer. This is where you stop being a participant and become a mechanism. You don't just benefit from corruption now, you protect it. You sit on committees. You appoint investigators. You pressure judges quietly. You know which scandals get buried under paperwork and which ones get weaponized to destroy rivals. You leak. You threaten. You reward. You starve enemies of oxygen. This is where democracies and empires start looking suspiciously similar. In Rome, you use patronage and accusations. In modern capitals, you use media allies, procurement boards, party discipline, regulatory harassment, same knife, different handle, compensation, officially maybe $200,000 a year if you're high enough. Unofficially, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, deferred, layered, laundered, hidden inside real estate, consulting firms, and obedient relatives. But the psychological toll is catastrophic. You no longer have friends, only temporary alignments. You no longer hear praise, only market signals. A compliment means someone wants a contract. A smile means someone knows something. A handshake feels like someone measuring your wrist for cuffs. This is the level where sleep starts to get expensive. You wake at 3 a.m. thinking about old emails, old photos, old hotel logs, old donors, old lovers, old staffers you underpaid and discarded. Every human being you use becomes a loaded gun lying around the house. And yet you keep climbing, because by now corruption is not greed, it's survival. If you slow down, the machine notices. If you step aside, the wolves behind you smell blood. Level 6, the minister of dirt. Now you are national, a cabinet minister, a party treasurer, a governor, a man or woman whose signature can move billions and ruin cities. This is the dream, according to idiots. Motorcades, tailored suits, a house too large to clean honestly, private dinners, foreign trips, a staff trained to laugh half a second after you finish speaking. Your compensation is obscene. Salary, maybe $250,000 or $400,000 depending on the country. Real rewards, tens of millions in infrastructure scams, defense contracts, energy concessions, privatization deals. This is no longer bribery in envelopes. This is industrial scale theft. Clean on paper, septic underneath. You approve roads that collapse, hospitals without medicine, schools with no books, bridges built by cousins of donors, weapons contracts for wars nobody's children will fight except the poor. You tell yourself everyone does it. You tell yourself the system is rotten anyway. You tell yourself you're just taking your cut before somebody else takes it first. That's how parasites prey. The toll? You become impossible to live with. Suspicion leaks out of you like radiation. You rotate staff because familiarity feels dangerous. You record your own calls. You keep lawyers closer than family. Your spouse knows not to ask certain questions. Your children inherit money and fear in equal measure. At this level, corruption stops feeling fun. It starts feeling like living in a palace with landmines under the carpet. Level 7, the crowned broker. This is the top floor before the roof caves in. Party leader, prime minister, president, consul, chancellor. The title doesn't matter. You are no longer just serving the machine. You are the face painted on it. Here the illusion reaches perfection. The public sees control. You feel siege. Every faction below you is hungry. Business magnates want policy. Media owners want protection. Foreign interests want leverage. Your own allies want your chair. The same people who financed your rise are now invoicing you for it. Compensation? Official salary becomes irrelevant. You can generate wealth so large it stops feeling numeric. Offshore accounts, land portfolios, family foundations, loyal oligarchs, government contracts routed through ghosts, enough money to buy islands, newspapers, judges, silence. And still, you can't relax. Because at the top, everyone is collecting insurance. Your chief of staff keeps copies. Your fixer keeps receipts. Your intelligence services know your habits. Your donors know your price. Your rivals know your weaknesses. Your allies know the bodies buried because they helped dig. This is the hidden cost of absolute power. You don't own the system. The system owns everyone, and you are simply its most decorated hostage. The physical toll arrives too. Your heart races in quiet rooms. Your jaw locks. You live on caffeine, pills, and denial. Your doctor warns you. You nod and sign another contract that steals from the dead and the unborn. You start to miss the old days, back when corruption was local, personal, cheap, back when betrayal came in envelopes instead of national headlines. Level 8, the 1%, this is the apex, the invisible level, the people above politicians while pretending not to exist. You don't campaign anymore. You manufacture campaigns. You don't beg donors. You are the donor. You don't fear the state. You lease it. This is where emperors, kingmakers, dynastic families, intelligence fixers, party bosses, and billionaire patrons all meet in the same dark cathedral of appetite. At this level, politics is not ideology. It is livestock management. The lower levels are cattle, volunteers, fixers, legislators, ministers, all of them fattened on ambition, branded with secrets, slaughtered when useful. Your compensation is not a salary. It is structural ownership. Ports, mines, banks, media channels, war contracts, monopoly licenses, currency manipulation, generational wealth built from public decay, billions. But here is the joke no one below understands. You are the most paranoid of all, because when you control everything, every threat becomes existential. A whistleblower is not annoying. He is a fire in the basement. A reformer is not naive. She is a virus. A loyal lieutenant is not reassuring. He is a future traitor waiting for the weather to change. You eat at private tables, ride in armored cars, sleep behind cameras and reinforced doors. Your grandchildren are educated abroad because even you don't trust the country you help hollow out. That is the final irony. You spend your life buying power so you never have to feel vulnerable again. And you end up more afraid than the volunteer who stapled posters for free. Because at the bottom, you can still believe in the ladder. At the top, you finally see it for what it is. Not a ladder, a meat hook. And one day the crowd gets hungry, or your allies do, or the foreign accounts freeze, or a rival leaks the files, or a prosecutor grows a spine, or a mob storms a palace, or a senate turns, or your own party decides you are now a liability wearing expensive skin. That's how it ends for men like you, for women like you, for regimes like yours. Not with dignity, with denials, shredded documents, silent phones, loyalists evaporating before sunset, news anchors circling like flies over roadkill, statues pulled down, portraits burned, family members pretending they warned you, lawyers billing by the hour while your empire collapses into paperwork and panic. And in the final quiet, after the motorcades and the bodyguards and the applause machines are gone, you understand the only honest thing corruption ever gave you. Not wealth, not status, not safety. Just a longer list of people who want you ruined. That's the underworld bargain. That's the whole scam from Rome to today. You climb because you think the top will feel clean. But corruption is sewage under pressure. The higher it rises, the more violently it bursts. And you were never escaping it. You were marinating in it. Now step back out of the story. This is a fictionalized portrait built from the ugliest patterns of power, the kind history repeats because human greed has excellent memory. Which level do you think is the most terrifying? The desperate bottom or the paranoid top? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for more dark dives into the systems that chew people up and call it civilization.